I want to say hello, everybody. We want to welcome you to Love and Arm Church for a Kick and Bible study here tonight. Those of you who have been following us, you understand that we are going to the Bible from start to finish, from the book of Genesis all the way on to the book of Revelation, so and so forth on, so God see fit here. Why? Because in order to serve God or to be a part of God, you have to know what God is and what God said, right? In other words, we're giving you the straight version of it, not the broad version. The broad version is when you listen at what everybody else say and don't know what's in the book. The straight version is when you get it straight from the book and you go through the book and you can see how God set everything up. And your mind begin to be at a single moment instead of a lot of broken pieces here and there. So on Saturday nights, we're teaching about the straight gate. And the reason we're doing this here is so you can understand who God is and get all that broadness out of you. Because the reason it is a broad message, it is designed to confuse you. But a straight message is designed to give you instructions. And that's what God is. He's about being straight. And so we're going to get straight with the Bible by listening how God put all this together from start to finish. Tonight's lesson is Numbers 3 and 4. We titled this, these also are the generation of Aaron and Moses. Okay, so last week we talked about Israel, and this week we're going to talk about the generation of Aaron and Moses, which are the tribe of the Levites. And last week we understood God closed it by saying that He separated the Levites from the children of Israel. He did this, I believe, in the book of Exodus, where He made Israel, or Leviticus 1 tell him He made Israel pay for their firstborn and give it to the Levites, and then the Levites no longer became a part of Israel, but they was a part of the priesthood. They belonged to Jesus here. Okay, and so now we finna look at that generation where for when they belong to Jesus here. All right. So last week we ended up in Numbers 74,600 with Judah. Uh, all these numbers ever done. Issachar, all these numbers represented this army that God put around his fortress. So Judah was in the east. The north, you had Naphtali, Asher, Dan. The south, you had Reuben, Simeon, Gad. And on the bottom, you had the tribe of Benjamin, and Joseph was Manasseh and Ephraim. And all these numbers represented the perimeter around the sanctuary, okay, where God placed his army. Now, the other children, I did go back and research this because Sister Helen asked a very good question. Their family was allowed to encamp with them around about, but their innermost part was the army that God selected out of them. But the families of them was camped round about the areas where the army was. So what God did was, again, He put an army around His church or around His sanctuary, a spiritual army that represented the 12 tribes of Israel, which He didn't put the whole tribe. He took men, remember, from 20 and upward that was able to go to war in that army. And those are the numbers that we got from that. Okay, now that's a square, okay, around the army, in the army. Now, here's what we finna get into tonight. These are the children of Moses, or generation of Moses and Aaron, which is the Levites. And so what God did was, in the main part, close to the church, which is that little bit of square in there, He placed the priests and the other group of people around that perimeter. So last week, the numbers represent Israel. This week, we're going to be looking at the Levites. And here's that same structure upside down because this picture is mirrored in a way that I had to put it like this so it can be somewhat um, right here. And so you're going to have Moses and Aaron's generation here is the Levite. And this is what we're going to be looking out, that inner perimeter, that square around inside that circle is what we're going to be looking at. Okay, let's get down to it. Number 1 is 55 verses in here. Go. These are the generation of Aaron and Moses in the days that the Lord spoke unto Moses in Mount Sinai. Okay, these are the numbers of the names of the son of Aaron: Nebahu, the firstborn, Nabaho, if I'm saying that right, Eleazar, and Isamar. The first two, remember, they was killed back in the book of Leviticus or Exodus. One tell them when they put up that strange smoke. I think it was Leviticus. These are the names of the sons of Aaron. The priests were priest which was anointed, whom the consecration of the ministry into the what priesthood. And so God took Eleazar here and Isamar, and they're going to be helping serve Aaron in the priesthood here. And so now he's setting it up to let you go. Now see, they said Nabaho and Ibah, if I'm saying it right, died before the Lord when they offered strange fire before what God in the wilderness of what Sinai, and they had no what children. But Eleazar and Isamar ministered in the priest's office in the sight of Aaron, the what father. So that they was priests along with Aaron. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the what priest, that they may minister unto what him. Now, so you had the main priest, Aaron, Eleazar, and Isamar, and now God is going to bring other peoples in to serve the sanctuary. The way we think of sanctuary is like a church today. So he's going to bring them in here. And so that's what he said, bring them to the area, that they may keep the what charge, and that the charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle congregation do the service of the what tabernacle. So God expected so that people be people that he can place to help Aaron and them to support to the church and go forward. So now look how God is doing this here. So now he got his army, and now he's setting his church in order the way he wants to. Look how God doing it. And they shall keep the instruments of the tabernacle of congregation and the charge of the children of what Israel to do the service of the what tabernacle. That's what God separated them from, what to serve that what tabernacle. Why? Because Israel had to bring their sacrifice and things had to be done. So you couldn't refuse to not be there. And thou shalt give the what Levites unto what Aaron and unto his what sons, and that the whole that they are what wholly given unto him out of the children of what Israel. And they shall appoint Aaron and his son, and they shall wait on the what priest office, and the stranger that come near shall be what put to death. And the Lord said unto what Moses, behold, I have taken the Levite from the children of Israel instead of the firstborn that opened the what majors of the womb, majors among the children of Israel. In other words, when he left Egypt, he said the firstborn was his because of what he did to Egypt. But instead of allowing Israel every time they had a firstborn child to take it to the church, what he did was he took a group of people, Levites, and he allowed them to stand in the fast the same way Jesus is standing in the stead of you when he made the sacrifices. So that's what he did. He took Levites so that every time they have a kid, they didn't have to bring them. Say, hey, Lord, this is my firstborn. This belongs to you. Therefore, the Levites shall be what mines. That's what God's saying. Because all the firstborns are what mines. See, for on that day that I have smited all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I holler unto what me all the firstborn in what Israel, both man and what beast. Mine shall they what be. I am the what Lord. And the Lord spoke unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, number the children of the what Levites according to the house of their father, by their what family, every male from a month old and upward shall be them be numbered, shall thou what number them. And Moses numbered them according to the word of the Lord as he was commanded. And these are the sons of Levi by their name: Goshen, Kubal, if I'm saying it right, and I don't know how to pronounce this last gentleman name, Merhar. But anyway, you're going to see these are the three major tribes that's in that picture where they're going to be around. So Goshen obviously was Moses' son, and so God, you're going to see how all this put in. I'm just going to show you. And these are the names of the sons of Goshen by their family. And these are the two here, whatever. This is where you're going to get those Kobites, those Semites, and all these other names from. And that's where they're going to come from. This is how you can know what tribe people's talking about, because they never really lose their tribe, because most of their tribes takes that name of the chief or that father of that tribe. And these three you're going to see throughout when God called those names, they're most going to refer to the Kobites or the Jebusites or the Goshamites and something like that. And you know he's talking about a son of Moses here. By their family, this is son of Kohath, if I'm saying it right, by his family, Amram and Haran and Ularab, whoever they is. These are the four names there. I know I'm bad with names, but you see them on the screen. These represent those right here. And these are the sons of the last kid by their family, and he's going to give their names. And these are the family of the Levite according to the house of their what father. Of Goshen was the family of, uh, what's that? Lamanites, the family of the Semites, if I'm saying it right, Shemalites or whatever. And these are the family of what Joseph. So anytime you see those, the Lamanites or the Shemites or however you see it, you know that he was talking about Goshen. Those were the number of them according to the number of all the males from a month old and upward. And these were the numbers of them was 7,500 from Goshen. And the family of the Goshenite pitched their tent on the west side of the tabernacle. So here's, if you're looking at the bottom of the screen, because this picture is kind of sort of upside down and flipped inside out. And so here would be the west part of it here. That would be the Goshen right here. See, that's a 7,050 here. So that's what God is doing with these two chapters. He's placing these people where he wanted them to be. It's pretty simple here. Okay. And the chief of the father of the Goshemites was this person name here, the son of whoever that was. And the charge of the son of the Goshemite in the tabernacle of congregation shall be the what tabernacle and the what tent and the covering thereof and the hangers of the door of the what tabernacle of congregation. So in other words, when they got ready to set this tent up, that was kind of sort of the Goshemite part of them. They dealt with that portion of it. And the handles of the wood court, and the curtains of the doors of the wood court, which is by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, a cord, and the cord of it, the cords of it, all the service thereof. So all that was his job is this tent here. Okay. And of Kohath, if I'm saying it right, the family of the what's that? Amorites, if I'm saying it right. So you see that in the Bible, we're talking about one of the priests here, and the family of um, whatever his name is, and all this. These three guys are his children. All those is going to go by this Amorite family here. That's all they're going to say. It consists of. I wish I can say these names right. I'm gonna try to. Um, uh, I I Zelar, whatever, the Hebronites, the Ularites or whatever. All these is considered at that one group of people that he's talking about when you're talking about this young man. The number of all the males from a month old and upwards is 8,600. 8,600 to keep the charge of the what sanctuary. And the family of the Kovite pitched their tents on the south side of the temple. And the chief of the family was this gentleman down here, the son of I can't pronounce that name. So here we go here, right? It's 8,600 here. Here he is here. Goshen. So God, that's all he's doing in that. He's setting up that perimeter around the church here. Pretty. I can quit teaching it here because this is pretty much from 2 to 4 is what he referenced here. These are the number of them according to the family of the males of the from a month old and upward were 6,000 and 6,200. And the chief house of the father of the family of uh, the last gentleman here was pitched a tent on the what north side. Okay, under the Curtis in charge of the son of much shall be the borders of the tabernacle, the bars and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and the vessels thereof, and all the service thereof. So he dealt with that portion of it. And here we go, 6,200 him. And his job was to make sure the pillars, the bars, and all those things was in place, everything fine. So between these three peoples here, They had to hang curtains, and they had to work synergistically to either put that sanctuary down and pull that sanctuary up. And each family had a responsibility and a part in doing that. So not this business didn't fall on one person. God put who he wanted in charge of that sanctuary here. And the pillars of the court round about, and the sockets, and there were pins, and there were cards. But these that encamped before the tabernacle towards the east side, and before the tabernacle of the congregation, the east ward, such shall be Moses, Aaron, and his son, keeping the charge of the sanctuary for the charge of the children of Israel. Meaning they was making them sacrifices and they working inside that church. So here we go. And the stranger that comes near shall be what put to death. And all the numbers of the Levites, which Moses and Aaron numbered at the commandment of what the Lord throughout their what family, all the males from a month old and upwards was 20,002. And the Lord said unto what Moses, number the firstborns of the males of the children of Israel from a month old and upward, and take the number of their what names. Look at God doing this. And thou shalt take the Levites for me. I am the Lord. Instead of the firstborn, again, among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Israel, instead of all the first line among the cattle of the children of Israel. And Moses numbered, as the Lord commanded him, all the firstborns among the children of Israel. And all the first one, male by the numbers of their what names, from the 1 month old upward, of those that were numbered of them were 20,203 scores and what 30. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, take the Levites instead of the firstborn among the children of Israel, just like I said, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their what cattle. And the Levites shall be what mines. I am the what Lord. And so God didn't want to have to rip babies away from their children to do his work. And besides, each time they did that, each time they had a baby, it had to be taught and trained. So what God did was he took a group of people, and as they began to produce offsprings and stuff like that, he just used them. Why? Because they was more familiar with the sanctuary, and as their kids grew up in the sanctuary, it was easy to teach them. And so he didn't just rip babies from people's arms. He took the Levites instead, and he's going to make the children of Israel support them do the work of the ministry. Okay, and for those that are to be what redeemed, of the 203 scores and 30,000 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, which are more than the what Levites. And so, in other words, if Jesus had took all the firstborn, okay, he would have had more than that he chose of the Levites. See, God has been very generous in how he doing this, but he is staking his claim. Those shall even take 5 shekels a piece by what pole. After the shackles of the what sanctuary shall thou take what them, the shekel of 20 gila, and thou shalt take the what money, wherewith the odd number of them is to be what redeemed unto Aaron and his what son. And God took to and God and Moses, I'm sorry, and Moses took the redemption money of them that were over and above that was redeemed of what the Levites. And so God made them, okay, you got more than them, you're gonna make a payment based on the Gila of the sanctuary, and he gave it unto what Aaron, the firstborn of the children of Israel, took he the what money instead of them, 1,303 score and 50 shekels as the shekel of the what sanctuary. And Moses gave the money unto them. Moses gave the money of them that was redeemed unto Aaron and his sons according to the word of the Lord according to the word of the Lord, as the Lord had commanded what Moses here. All right, now we're in chapter 4. You understand what he was doing. Chapter 4 is more of the same. He's just going to reiterate where he wanted to be, how he wanted to be. So he told you how the Levites was being born, how the Levites became the, honestly, you can consider the 13th tribe of Israel, but God didn't consider them part of Israel. He considered them part of himself. So the Levites, became like a nation unto them self for the service of what God. All right. 4. Numbers 4, 49 chapters out of this. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, take the sons of Kohath, if I'm saying it right, from among the sons of the Levites, after their family. Remember, I showed you what he did with them, put them. So now he's giving Moses a little bit more instruction. By the house of their father, from 30 years and older and upwards, even until 50 years older. All that enter into the host to do the work of the tabernacle of congregation. So now God went there. Now, previously, he told him just number. Okay, so Moses came back and gave him the number. Okay, they were from 2 months and older. Okay, so now that he purchased the Levites. Okay, now that he had redeemed them of Israel as a firstborn, so now he's putting them actually into place to do the work and to bring that picture that I showed you out in the back of life. This shall be the service of Kohath in the tabernacle congregation up above the most holy thing here. And when the camp set forward, so in other words, when he get ready to move, Aaron shall come, and his sons, and they shall take down the covering of the veil that covered the ark of the testimonies without testimony with it. So now Aaron them gonna come forth, him and his son, and he's going to take down the altar, the where the curtain that keeps that mercy seat hid. They're gonna take that down. Why? Here's why. And they shall put up on the covering of badger skin, and they shall spread it over it the cloth wholly of blue, and shall put it in the stage thereof. So in other words, when they take down this stuff, they had a special badger skin stuff that they're gonna place it in to keep it safe. And the table of shewbread, they shall uh, they shall spread the cloth of blue, and put thereof on the dishes and the spoons and the bowls, and covers to covers with it, and continue and the continuous bread shall be there end. So God is telling them how to break it down, how to prepare it. And that shall spread upon the cloth of sackcloth, and cover the same with the covering of badger skin, and shall put in the stage there, and they shall take the cloth of blue, and cover the candlesticks of light, and of the lamp, and the tongues, and the snapper, and the oil vessels thereof, wherewith they minister unto it. And they shall put it in all the vessels thereof within a covering of badger skin again, and shall put it upon the bars, and upon the golden altar, which shall spread they shall spread a cloth of blue again, and cover it with a covering of badger skin, and thou shalt put in the staves of it thereof. And thou shalt take all the instrument of ministry, rather wherewith they minister in the sanctuary, and put them in a cover of blue, and to cover them with a covering of badger skin, and shall put them upon their bars. And they shall take away the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple cloth thereof, and thou shalt put upon it all the vessels thereof, wherewith they ministered about it, even the censer, the flesh hooks, or the shovels, or the basins, all the vessels of the altar, and they shall spread upon it a covering of badger skin upon badger skin, and put the staves, um, and put to the stage of it. So God is showing them how He wants them to break it down. And when Aaron his son have made it into covering the sanctuary, meaning putting that veil back up, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, and as the camp shall set to go forward, after that the sons of Korah shall come to bury it. They're gonna come, they're gonna take it, Now, why is he making Aaron and his sons do that? Because if they can't walk into that holy place, because if they do, and Jesus there, it wouldn't be good for them. But they shall not touch the holy thing. Why? Least they would die. That's the priest. The only priest could do it. These things are the burdens of the sons of God and the tabernacle in the tabernacle congregation. All right. And to the oath of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, pertaining the oil of what lights and the sweet incense and the daily meat offering and the anointing oil and the oversight of all the tabernacle and all that therein is in the sanctuary in the vessels thereof. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Cut ye not off the tribe of the family of the Korathite from among the what Levites, but those do unto what me, that they may what live and not die. When they approach unto the most holy thing, Aaron and his sons shall go in and appoint them every man to serve and to do his what burden, that they shall not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they what die. So Aaron and them had to go in first to set all that up, and then they come in and they bear it up and they make sure it go where they need to go. All right. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Take also the sons of Goshen throughout their house of their fathers and their what family, from 30 years and upward now. So remember, they numbered all the firstborn from 2 months and up. So God is just only going to take them from the age of 30 now. And so all the firstborn that's not 30 will be learning probably how to replace the older ones as they get older. From 30 years and upwards unto what 50 years old um, to set thou what number them. Shall thou what number them? I'm sorry. All that enter to perform the service, to do the work in the tabernacle congregation. This is the service of the family of the uh, Goshenites to serve and for burden. And they shall bear the tents of the tabernacle, as he said before, and the tabernacle congregation is covering, and the coverings with badger skin that is about unto it, and to hang, and the hangings of the doors of the tabernacle congregation, and the hanging of the court, and the hanging of the doors of the case of the court, which is by the tabernacle and by the altar round about, and the wood cords, and all the ministers that was service, and all that is of them shall so shall they what serve. So God has given them their portion of what they need to do. At the appointment of Aaron and his son shall be all the service of the men of the golden site. So Aaron and his son is going to be leading them to, and to all that were burdened, and in all their what service, and all shall be what appointed unto them in charge of all that were burdened. This is the service of the family of the sons of the Gershite in the tabernacle congregation, and their charge shall be under the hand of Itamar, the sons of Aaron the what priest. And so the Gershonites, they're going to take instruction from him. And if you notice, where um, on the side of it where they are, they also is kind of connected with the peoples of the army that is protecting them. Okay, here's the last sons of them, and the son of Murah, if I'm saying that. Thou shalt number them after their families by the house of their what fathers. Okay, from 30 years ago again. Remember, they counted them from 2 months or 3 months or something, but he's only taken from 30 to 50. From 30 years old to 50 years old shall be the number of them, everyone that entered unto the what service, to do the work of the tabernacle congregation. And this is the charge of their what burden, according to all the service in the tabernacle congregation, the boards of the what tabernacle congregation, the bars thereof, the pillars thereof, and the shackles thereof, the pillars of the court round about, this and their what socket, and their what pins, and their what cords, and with all their what instrument, and with all their what service, and by the name ye shall what reckon the uh, reckon the instrument of the charge of their what burdens here. And this is the service of the families of this is the service of the family of um, Mirai, if I'm saying that right, according to all the what service in the tabernacle congregation, under the hands of Issachar, again the sons of Aaron, the what priest, and Moses and Aaron, and the chief of the congregation, numbered the number of the Kohathites after their families and the house of their father, from 30 years old and 50 years old, everyone that entered into the what service was for the work in the tabernacle congregation. And these were the number of them of the family were 2,750. 2,750, which we showed you in the previous again. So these are the actual number of the peoples that is there. The 750 is what I showed you in that picture here. Right? Because remember, the first number was just him numbering all the firstborn, period. Now he's taking 30 to 50 out, and that's the number. That's what it's coming from. These were they that were numbered in the family of the Kerethites, and in all the might in all that they might do service in the tabernacle of congregation. And Moses and Aaron did according to the commandments of the what Lord by the hands of what Moses. And these that were numbered of the children of Goshen from 30 years old and upwards to 50 years old, everyone that entered into the what service for the work of the tabernacle congregation. So now we're talking about the last one is Goshen as we get ready to wrap this up. All right. Even those that were numbered of them throughout their what families by the house of the what father was 2,620, just like I showed you on the what picture here. Maybe we should bring it back up, go back to it a little bit here. And these were the numbers of the families of Goshen, and all that what might of service of the tabernacle congregation. And Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandments of the Lord. And those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, I'm saying it right, throughout their what family and their house of their what father, from 30 years upward to 50 years old, and everyone that entered into the service for the work in the tabernacle congregation, even though that they that were not, even those that were numbered of them after the what family were 3,220. And like I said, you see it on what we put up there. These be those that were numbered of the what family of the sons of Merari. Right. Now, whom Moses and Aaron had numbered according to the word of the Lord by his what hand. After all those that were numbered of the what Levite, when Moses and Aaron and the chief of Ephraim numbered them after their family, after their house, and after their father, from 30 years and upward to 50 years, everyone that came, anyone that come to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden of the tabernacle congregation, even those that were numbered of them were 8,000. You put it all together, 504 score, according to the commandments of the Lord that were numbered by the children of what Moses. Everyone according to his service, according to his burden. These were the number of him as Moses, as the Lord commanded what Moses. And again, what you was looking at throughout all this situation is, let's go back up right here. And all God was doing here from the word go was setting up this here place here, because whether what you see, the camp of the Levites were the walls of the church, and they was round about the church that supported. Now, they was not like priests that they go inside the church. They had to take the burden of the church, or they did the lifting or the carrying or the transporting of the organization. So again, you had 1 and 2. He numbered his army. 3 and 4, he set his church in order. He put the priests so that they can do the inner working of the church and their families. And on the outside, he had people to be able to break down this tent, to put it back up, and everybody responsibility for a little part. So to make that clear, that's all what's going on in 3 and 4 in the book of Exodus. If you like what you hear tonight, you're to go to LebanonChurchWaukegan.org. Again, that is LebanonChurchWaukegan.org. Look for our live broadcast tab. A drop-down menu will appear. Please select on the Bible study selection of that. Join our Bible study community. You give access to tons of video teaching like you hear tonight, and you also give opportunity to go live and ask the pastor any question you want to concerning the subject matter that we are teaching on here. Again, that is Lebanon Church Waukegan, and to then we bid you farewell. We get ready to go into live discussion tonight. Thank you guys, and